you'll be able to receive an email with a link to the class so that you can review it at any time, okay? And because of that, as you ask questions through chat, I will read them off to make sure that when you get the recording that you understand some of the questions that you may have answered and the answers accordingly. All right, so here we go. This is the DARCI marketing class. Now, what we mean by DARCI and marketing is this. Well, DARCI actually does have a very powerful automated marketing tool. We also have manual marketing. And so when we say DARCI and marketing, the and marketing is the manual marketing part. When we talk about DARCI, we'll also discuss some of the other things that she does, including the automated marketing feature. So let's get started. In order to use DARCI, the very first thing we need to do is what we like to call hire her. And you do that by clicking on the DARCI button in the upper right-hand corner of your Transcend toolbar. That brings up our Setup DARCI window. In order to hire her, the first thing we need to do is click on Set Up Account. So that's what we're going to do. And that brings us to this Setup DARCI Account Information window. It may look a little bit daunting, but it's actually quite simple. I'm going to go over each one of these fields with you. And please feel free to interrupt me with any questions. Just type them right in if they come up. All right, so where it says business name, you would actually put in the name of your business there. Pretty simple, easy to understand. Same with address, city, state, zip code, and telephone number. You simply put in your business's information there. Where it says business website address, this is going to be your actual website address, your business's website address. Now, where it says business email address, this one's a little bit different. This one requires a little bit of explanation, just so that you can understand which email address to put there. You may have an info email address, you may have a manager's email address, etc., or an owner's or something like that. But where it says business email address, when DARCI sends out an email to your customers or to your staff or to you even, if anybody replies to that email, it needs to be sent somewhere. So whatever reply there is will be forwarded to whatever email address you've put here, where it says business email address. So again, only if a customer replies to a DARCI email, then it will forward it to this email address. Okay, next we have owner's email address and owner's email address too. Now, DARCI has 5 main jobs. One of those jobs, however, is notifying the boss about things that DARCI believes only the boss should be able to see. And so the email addresses that you put under owner's email address and owner's email address 2 are the ones that DARCI will be sending owner's eyes only information to. Okay, so there's 2 email addresses here. You could just use one like I've done here, or you could use both. Maybe you've got the owner's got a business address and a home address and they want both of them there, or maybe there's 2 owners and so you have 2 separate email addresses there for the partners. Again, whatever you put in the owner's email address, DARCI is only going to be sending things to those addresses if she believes that it is for the owner's eyes only. And when we get to the notification portion of the 5 DARCI jobs, you'll see exactly what we're talking about there. Now, the next one says upload logo. Every email that DARCI sends out is going to have your logo on it. It's also going to have your social networking icons on it. And so it's a pretty good looking email, but it can't do that. It can't send out an email with your logo on it if you haven't uploaded your logo. So you'll press this button here in order to do just that. You can hit browse and you can go onto your computer and find the logo that you would like to upload. Once you have found that, you're going to hit this button, upload, and after you've browsed to the image, you're going to hit upload, and then right up here, in just a few seconds, it will say file uploaded successfully. Now, in order to upload successfully, the file itself cannot be larger than 500,000 bytes. That's 500K. So it must be 500K or smaller. And it must be a .gif, a .jpeg, a .txt, or a .png. It must be one of those 4 graphic files in order to be uploaded into the system if you are using the installed version. if you are using the installed version of the software, then you can upload a GIF, a JPEG, a TXT, or a PNG. Understand, if you are using the cloud version of the software, then you can only upload a JPEG. So again, 500K or smaller. If you're in the cloud, it must be a JPEG. If you're installed, then you can use GIF, JPEG, TXT, or PNG. After you've uploaded it, you simply hit close. Now, if your logo doesn't look good, or maybe it's too small, or maybe it's too big, and you don't know how to format it properly to fit in these emails, et cetera, ProSolution Software has a graphic arts department that is at your disposal free of charge. It's part of what you pay for, subscription-wise. So you are free to contact graphics at prosolutionssoftware.com, and they can help you with your logo or with banners or anything else that you need to put up. Talk more about that in a little bit. Okay, after you've uploaded your logo, the next thing here, we have text account username and text account password. If you are using the cloud version of the software, then there is a certain number of text account usernames and texts, that you get for free. And you just need to request your text account username and text account password by requesting them by sending an email to rates, R-A-T-E-S, at prosolutionssoftware.com. So if you don't have a text account username and password, you can get it if you're in the cloud, so you get some for free. Now, if you are in the installed version of the software, you can still get texting for free, some of them anyway, if you are processing your credit cards through our preferred provider. If not, you can purchase texts. Instead of getting a block for free, you can simply purchase them at any time. Again, though, in order to get your username and password, you do have to send an email to rates@prosolutionssoftware.com, and they can create the username and password for you. It's not terribly expensive. I believe it's about $30 per 1,000 texts, and they do not roll over, by the way, so that would be every month. Okay, next, we've got on the right-hand side here, Google+, Yelp, City Search, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram. These are your business's social networking sites. So if your business has a Google+ site, go to your Google+ site, copy the URL, and paste it right here. Go to your Yelp site, copy the URL, and paste it here. By doing these things, anything that DARCI sends out will include these icons, your Google+, Yelp, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, etc. This makes it very easy for your customers to visit your social sites, because any email that DARCI sends out to them will include those icons for quick and easy access. That's especially helpful when dealing with reviews. Next, we've got online gift cards, online scheduling, and online retail. Ignore those. After you have put in the URLs for your social networking sites, you're done. You do not have to concern yourself at all with any of these three items. In fact, we're going to be removing these three items from the DARCI setup, because now we work with them in the online section so that you can, in fact, sell gift cards online, appointment booking online, retail sales online, etc. But for DARCI's purposes, there's nothing going on there, so we can press save. Your settings have been saved. I say OK and exit. DARCI has now been hired. Now what we need to do is tell her her job description. And there are 5 different main jobs that DARCI can do. So for instance, email confirmations and text confirmations. These are appointment confirmations. So I click on this, and this is going to allow me to write whatever I want for an email, subject line and my greeting. And when I say I get to write whatever I want, what I mean is that every one of these can be unique. So by using these variables, like the open caret, capital CF, closed caret, that will insert the client's first name. Open caret, lowercase service, closed caret, that will insert the name of the service that the client is getting, etc. So this might say something like, reminder for Roxanne. Hi, Roxanne. Remember that you have an appointment for a European facial with Sally on March 25th at 11 a.m. Please arrive 15 minutes early to unwind. So that's what I've written. You can write whatever you want. And you might say, well, how do I know what variables I can use? Well, this little information I here shows you how to use the variables to insert things to make everybody's message unique to them. So open caret, capital business, space, capital name, closed caret to insert the business name. Open caret, lowercase service, closed caret to insert the service name, etc. So here's a sample for you, and it says, Bella Renaissance appointment reminder. Hi, Roxanne. Remember that you have an appointment for a European facial with Sally on March 25th at 11 a.m., etc., etc. So you write whatever you want using the variables the way we have instructed in the information I, so that everybody's message is unique to them. Then you come down here where it says the number of reminders to send. And you can choose up to 4 reminders, 1, 2, 3, or 4. I've chosen 2. And I want those reminders to go out. In this case, I can choose from 0 to 7 days prior to the appointment. I said I want the first message to go out 2 days before and the next one to go out the day before. Now, this message has my logo on it. It also has my social networking icons on it, but it also has a big blue button that says click here to confirm your appointment. So when your customer receives this message, they can click that button and it will mark the appointment confirmed right on your appointment book. Now, just like if you were using a paper book, if you called somebody 2 days in advance and to confirm, and you spoke with them, and they said, oh, yes, I can't wait, I'm looking forward to it. So they definitely confirmed. So you marked them confirmed. Well, you wouldn't call them the next day to confirm again. DARCI does the same thing. If she reaches out the first time and the customer confirms their appointment, she won't send out the next message or messages. Once they confirm, she'll stop. But if they ignore this for any reason, then she'll send out the next one, and possibly another, up to 4 messages. Once you've written what you want, once you've put in how many reminders you want to send, and when you want them to go out, then you simply check this box that says active and accept. And then you can exit out. You have now set up DARCI to make sure that everybody on your appointment book is going to be getting contacted by her with the ability for them to confirm their own appointments. She can also do it via text. The difference with text and email, of course, is that there's no artwork, so you won't have your logo, your social networking icons, or a big blue button that says click here to confirm. So instead of that button, you're going to have a line like this that says reply Y to confirm. When your customers receive the text, reminder for Roxanne, Roxanne, your appointment with Sally is on March 25th at 11 a.m., reply Y to confirm. Notice there's a lot less information here, and the reason for that is because the text reminder can only be 140 characters or less, just like a tweet, a Twitter feed. 140 characters or less. Now that's not the same with the email. With the email, you have much more space to be able to use. So you can include things like your cancellation policy in your email or whatever you want it to be. But in this case, you're limited to 140 characters. So you want to make sure that you have just the basic information in there and reply Y to confirm. Once again, everything else is the same. Activate it, press accept, and exit. Next, we have campaigns. These are our automated marketing campaigns. So I'm going to click here, and this is going to bring up my Blast Marketing Messages campaign window. I have over 20 different campaigns to choose from. Anniversary, back to school, birthday, Christmas, Easter, Father's Day, all the big ones are here. Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, etc. Thanksgiving, July 4th, it's all here. Over 20 of them, including promotional, which allows you to create your own special date. But let's see how this works. I'm going to start with birthday. So what I'm saying is I want to send a message out to my customers before their birthday. In the client file, you're going to have your customer's date of birth, hopefully. Hopefully you're gathering that information. If so, you can certainly use this. So what I've said is, okay, I'm going to go with the birthday template, and how many campaigns am I going to run? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Well, I've chosen 4 this time. Then, when are the messages going out? Well, I've chosen 4 messages. Notice if I choose 2, now you've only got 2. I choose 4, now I've got 4. So I've said I want my first message to go out 30 days before my customer's birthday. My second message 14 days before their birthday. My third message 7 days before their birthday. And my fourth message on their birthday. Now that I've said when they're going to go out, I get to say what goes out. So I'll go to my first message here. And I get to write my subject, Happy Birthday, Roxanne. Again, I get to use variables. As you can see, there's a list of variables here now. for you to choose from. And they may be a little bit different than the ones that you saw earlier. So don't rely on what you thought you saw earlier. Look at them right here. So happy birthday, Roxanne. Then happy birthday, Roxanne. It looks like you'll be celebrating your special day in about a month. Now I wrote in about a month because I know this one's going out 30 days prior. So not only do I write my subject, but I can choose my font, whatever I want it to be. I can choose my font size, whatever I want it to be, and then type everything up. After I've chosen my font and my font size, I type up my message. I can, while I'm typing, click on bold to make things bold while I'm typing them, or underline while I'm typing them, or italics, or even choose a different color for my text. And finally, I can insert URLs or links right into the body of my message. Also, after I've written what I want and I put my message in, then I get to upload my artwork. And there are 8 different pieces of artwork to choose from. 8 different pieces. And you can see we've got 4 radio buttons here and 4 radio buttons here, and then 1 off to the side. But let's talk about these 4 radio buttons top and bottom. That's 8 different pieces of artwork. And you can click on each one of them and then click on the button, and you'll see the actual artwork as your customer will see it. And so what if you don't like any of the 8 pieces of artwork we've made for you? If you've looked at all 8 of them, you say, you know what, it's just not going to work for me. Then what you can do is you can upload your own custom image. And our graphic arts department can give you the specs for that if you'd like to make it yourself, or they can help you make it, again, at no charge. So that would be if you want to use the 9th one, you're going to have a custom campaign. You get to upload your own custom image into the 9th radio button. Okay? Once you've written your subject, you've chosen your font and your font size, you've written the body of your email, you've chosen your artwork, then our recommendation is that you send yourself a test email where it says send test email. Type in your own email address and hit OK. By doing so, you will get this email, and you'll see the way your customers are going to see it. And if it looks good, save the whole template and exit. Now you're done with that first message. Move on to the second message and do the same thing. Each message can have its own unique artwork and its own unique verbiage until you have done all 4 of them. Then you check this box that says active and save the whole thing. And now you're done with birthdays. As long as you're taking your customers' birthdays in their client file, then the system is going to be able to check whose birthday is 30 days from today. Oh, these 3 people, they're going to get this first message. How many people birthdays are 2 weeks away? Oh, these 8 people, I'm going to send them this message. How many are 1 week away? Oh, nobody. Okay, we'll skip that. How many are today? 1. Okay, they're going to get this message. And that's what how DARCI works. And she's going to check every single day. And that's just birthday. Everything you can imagine is in here. Valentine's Days, and you choose your artwork, you write your message. Mother's Day. Again, it's all done the same way, except for 3. Remember I told you there are over 20 to choose from, but there are 3 that are a little bit different than all the others. Of the over 20 to choose from, all of them but 3 go out prior to the date. So if I chose anniversary, these messages are going out before my customer's anniversary. If I chose Father's Day, the messages that I'm sending out are going to go out before Father's Day. If I chose Valentine's Day, before Valentine's Day, et cetera, et cetera. However, there are 3 that are different. One of them is follow-up. Follow-up goes after the date. Well, what's the date? We all know what February 14th is. That's Valentine's Day. We all know what December 25th is. That's Christmas. Okay, but what's the date for follow-up? Well, it uses the date of your customer's last transaction. That's their last visit to you. So if you said, I want 1 campaign to run 1 day from their last visit to me, then that means that everybody who visited me yesterday will get this message as long as they allow me to send them promos. So it might say something like, thank you, Roxanne. Roxanne, thank you so much for visiting us yesterday. We hope everything went great for you and look forward to seeing you again. Please print this email out for 5% off your next visit. Again, you get to write whatever you'd like. You get to choose whatever artwork you'd like to choose. And if you can't find something that works for you, you get to upload your own custom artwork. Everything else is the same as before. Just follow-up goes after the date of last transaction. Another one is lost client. Lost client also goes after the date of last transaction. The difference here, though, is that instead of from 0 to 30 days, this is from 30 to 360 days. So I've said I want 4 messages to go out. And I want my first message to go out 90 days after the customer's last visit to me. That means they saw me 3 months ago but never came back. And so I might have a message something like this. We miss you, Roxanne. Roxanne, it's been a long time since we've seen you. Please let us know what we can do to make your next visit memorable, blah, 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 blah. Now, if they get that message and say, oh, that's a great idea, so they call and they book an appointment, they won't get the next message because now they have an appointment or they came in and visited you. And so the 90 days would have to start over. If they have a future appointment for you, she won't send out any of these messages. That way you don't look foolish. So that's lost clients. Again, there are over 20 different promotions to choose from. And Darcy is going to check every single day to see which ones she should be sending out. So some days she might send out nothing. Other days she might send out hundreds of emails. You never know. Third job, set up notifications. Do you remember earlier I said the owner's emails would be entered so that Darcy could send owner-specific information is what I meant to say. And that's where we get here into the notifications. Not all of these are suspicious activities, but many of them are. So whatever I check, Darcy is going to handle. So where it says when a cash payment is voided, if I void a cash payment, Darcy is going to contact the boss and let the boss know that a cash payment has been voided. I can check this one, when an operator's scheduled hours are changed. So change an operator's scheduled hours, the boss gets notified. When a price is modified at the point of sale, boss gets notified if I've got that checked. When rewards points are adjusted, when a transaction is modified, all of these different things that 99.9% of the time your employees are doing for a valid reason. But occasionally, they may be doing something you may not want them to be doing. And Darcy will contact you and let you know if they are in fact doing something that perhaps you don't want them to do. Again, not all of these are suspicious activities. Some of them are very blasé, like this one. Email client when booked, unbooked, or rescheduled. If I've got this checked, whenever I book, unbook, or reschedule a customer, I have the opportunity to send that customer an email that lets them know their appointment has been booked successfully or that it has been unbooked or rescheduled. This one here that says when you make over an amount in a day, again, pretty basic. If this is checked, you get to put in a figure here, whatever you want that figure to be. Then when you hit that amount, Darcy will contact the boss and say, hey boss, we just broke 2,500 and it's 11:18 in the morning. You know, and you were hoping to hit 2,500 by 4, so that's great news. Or maybe you were hoping to hit 2,500 by noon and she still hasn't contacted you and it's already 2 o'clock. So maybe something is not so hot. This one here, email operator when booked, unbooked, or rescheduled. That works the same way as the email client, but instead of going to the client, it goes to your staff member. Every time you book, unbook, or reschedule an appointment for them, they can be instantly notified. That's very popular with independent contractors and booth renters. Email tomorrow's schedule to operator. You've got that checked, and your staff every night will get an email from Darcy showing them what their schedule is for the following day, just theirs, nobody else's. Email closing report to the boss. Well, if the boss has gone home for the day and an employee is the one closing, isn't it nice to know that Darcy is going to send an email to the boss that says, hey boss, here are tonight's closing numbers. Same with the end of day report and the sales detail. With the sales detail, this goes to your staff members and it will let them know every day they'll get a report showing them what sales they got credit for that day if you've got it checked. Once you've checked off the things that you want Darcy to handle, you simply press save. And that's your your notifications. Now she has 2 other main jobs. There's the come again and the buy again. The way the come again works is very simple. It works with services, and it wants your customers to, quote unquote, come again. So we go to setup, and we go to our salon and spa services, and we can choose any service. For instance, I'll go to hair here, and maybe I've got something like an anti-curl. And perhaps an anti-curl should be repeated every 5 weeks, or 6 weeks, or 7 weeks, or 8 weeks, or whatever it may be. So I can go to DARCI, and I can check this box that says DARCI come again. And I can use my drop down here to choose from 1 to 52 weeks. I've chosen 6 weeks. And then I've got my subject, don't let those roots curl, and my body. We see that your last anti-curl was performed 6 weeks ago. Your roots may be showing their curl. You can write whatever you want. It could say something like, click here to book your next appointment, or something like that. Let's see, you say you got lost from setup. Okay, so again, in order to get where we just went to, we go from setup. From setup, we're going to click on our salon or spa services. That will bring us to this window. This is the window where you create your groups and services. So all of my groups are here: Botox and hair and laser and light facial and massage and nails, etc. But of course, the groups are user defined. Your groups are going to be whatever you've created. And so you can choose a group, then you can choose a service. Like, for instance, a bikini wax. And let's pretend that I said, you know what, a bikini wax should be done every 3 weeks. So I'm going to go to DARCI here, and I'm going to say, DARCI, come again. Now, am I going to remind them to book their appointment, or am I going to tell them that they missed their cycle? It's totally up to me. So let's go with missed cycle. Remember, I said it should be repeated in 3 weeks. So I'm going to do this in 4 or 5 weeks and say something like, it's almost beach time, exclamation point, and then my body says, we see your last bikini wax was performed 5 weeks ago, etc., etc. Just keep writing, whatever you want to say. Now that's one way to do it. If they got a bikini wax and 5 whole weeks have gone by and they have not returned to get it again, they can receive this one-time email, whatever you've written here. It's a great way to get them to come back. In fact, according to the consultants that helped us develop this, that results in about a 7% increase in client retention and service sales. Now, another way we can do it is, instead of 5 weeks, maybe I make it 2 weeks. And then instead of saying, hey, you missed because it was 5 weeks ago, we might say, we see you should be getting a bikini wax next week, but we don't have an appointment for you yet. Be sure to call blah, 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 okay? So again, you write whatever you want. But in this case, it's reminding them, hey, you don't have an appointment for your next bikini wax, which is coming up. So let's book that appointment. Whereas the other way, when I did it for 5 or 6 weeks, I said, hey, it should have been repeated in 3 weeks, but it's already been 5 weeks since you've last been here. Remember, you can do either way, because if the customer has a future appointment, it won't send the email. So if they've got an appointment, this message won't go out to them. Only if they don't have the appointment will it say, hey, you want to book that appointment. Okay, that's the DARCI come again. Now, DARCI also has something called buy again. So you've got your retail buy again, and that is working with inventory. It works very similarly to the come again. If we click on buy again, I can write a subject, a body, and once again, choose from 1 to 52 weeks out. So let's go to one that I've already done. This is my Just an All-in-One shampoo. And I've said that my customer should be using 2 ounces of it every other day, and it's 20 ounces in size, which means that in about 3 weeks, it should be empty. So I wrote this message: your Just an All-in-One shampoo is running low. And then the body: if you've been using the shampoo like I told you, then you should notice that you're either out or running low. Please print this email out and bring it in with you for 5% off your next purchase within 30 days. That's what I've written. And then I set it up for 5 weeks because, again, I know that it should be out or running low in 3 weeks. So I'm giving my customer an opportunity to return and buy it before I nag them. If that customer came in within those 5 weeks and bought that product again, they would not get this email. It would reset the clock. If they bought a product in the same category, it will reset the clock and they won't get the email. If, however, they did not buy anything within that category, including that product, and an entire 5 weeks have gone by, then yes, in fact, it will send out the email. According to the consultants that helped us to design this, this results in about an 8% average retail sale increase. Doesn't cost you anything, and yet you're selling, on average, an additional 8% worth of retail. So it's definitely something to consider. That's the DARCI come again and the buy again. So now we've defined 5 different jobs for her, and you don't have to set up all 5. You can just do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. But we've defined her 5 jobs. Now that we've done that, we need to tell her what jobs we want her to do and when. And that is controlled by these boxes here. So confirmations and campaigns. Do I want her to do those? Check the box. End of day functions like sending my staff their schedule for the following day or sending myself the closing report, things like that. If I want to do my end of day functions, check the box. Service come again. If I've got come agains set up with DARCI, check the box. And my buy agains. If I have got the buy again set up, check the box. Next, now that I've said what jobs I want her to do, I get to say when I want her to do them. So where it says 9:30 a.m. here, this is my confirmations and campaigns. I get to choose from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I've chosen 9:30 a.m. If I'm an installed version of the software, then I probably want to make sure that this is set for at least a half hour after I come through the door. That way I can make sure if I had lost power the night before or if my internet had gone down, that I could take care of those issues before DARCI is scheduled to run. If you are in the cloud, then it doesn't matter. DARCI is always running for you and you don't need to worry about that. Finally, you're going to do the same thing for your end of day functions from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And if you're using the come again and the buy again, do the same for them. Your end of day functions is going to, our recommendation, be at least a half hour after you've turned out the lights and locked the door and left for the day. Why? Because if one of the end of day functions is to send the boss the closing report, well, if you don't have it set long enough after you've closed, maybe you haven't closed yet and she tries to send the closing report out anyway. Well, if you haven't closed, then there's nothing to send the boss and the boss wouldn't get the closing report that night. So having it set to go out at least a half hour after you normally close is a great thing to do. All right. And then the come again and the buy again, if you're going to be doing them, we recommend whatever time you've set for your confirmations and campaigns, do the same for them. That way you know they're all going out at the same time. So now we have looked at all 5 of her jobs. We have defined her jobs. We've told her what jobs we want her to do and at what times. We are now done with DARCI. If we are in the cloud, we're actually done and we can hit accept and exit. If we are in the installed version, we must make sure that we have pressed Run DARCI. If you're in the cloud, Run DARCI doesn't even exist. That button is not there. But if you're in the installed version, you must press Run DARCI. Also, something to remember is that if you were to shut off the computer that is running DARCI, when you turn your computer back on, you need to go back into your software and run DARCI again. Again, you don't have to do that if you're in the cloud. But with the installed version, you must make sure that DARCI is actually running. And the only way you can know that is if you press that button here. And again, if you turn off the computer that DARCI is running on, she won't be running until that computer's back on and you have pressed Run DARCI again. Okay? Any questions on DARCI before we get into manual marketing? Roxanne, any questions on DARCI before we get into manual marketing? Okay, well, I'm going to take from your silence that, oh, okay, great. No, you are doing great, she says. Excellent. All right, so let's move on to manual marketing. The difference, of course, between manual and automated marketing is that automated marketing goes out automatically. That's the whole point of the term. whereas manual marketing goes out only when you want it to go out. So I get to go to reports, and from reports I select marketing, and then from marketing I select create a list, and this is where I get to create a list of my customers, and then I can do all sorts of things with it. I can print out mailing labels. I can print out a phone list to make phone calls off of, or I can blast a text message to the people on my list, or I can blast an email to the people on my list. So I no longer have to use third-party companies to blast out my company emails and things like that. But how is it done? How do I create a list? Well, all of these are called limiters, including everything here on the left-hand side. These are all limiters. And you can create up to 10 different limiters of your own so that it's completely customizable. So what do I mean by a limiter? Well, if I just left it alone and said, nothing, I could give it a name like all clients. Because if I just left it alone and didn't choose anything, it's going to give me every single client I've got in the system. However, I could do something like this, and now I'm only going to get my females. And I could say something like this. Now I'm only going to get my females who see Christian. Now I'm going to do something more. I'm going to say I only want my females who see Christian who have blonde hair. So I just keep limiting it so that my list is getting shorter and shorter. And then I give it a name, something like blonde Christian. And so these are going to be all of Christian's customers who are blonde, and so that's why I name it that way. And so once I've given it a name, I can simply hit create a list, and it will go through every one of my customers and generate that list. Now, the color portion here that I chose, and I said blonde, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of weird stuff in here. It says Amy and Cheryl and Dana and Evan and Matt and Omar, etc., and one-step color. There's all sorts of things in here that really don't make sense. What really should be in here under color is just things like brunette, black, auburn, bleach, red, blonde, etc., silver fox, things like that. How do we create those? We do that by going to Setup, Configuration, Tracking. Then we can go to Add Tracking Names. And this is where we can create them. When you first do this, there are no words here. It's just a white boxes. And so I can type in the word color and then come over here to Track Items and type in blonde and hit enter, red, enter, brunette, enter, silver, enter, blue, enter, etc. By doing that, I'm creating tracking items under my tracking name. Hair length, I typed in hair length, then I come over here and I write long, enter, medium, enter, short, enter, buzzed, enter. And now I've got my hair lengths that I can choose from. So you can do anything you want. You'll notice I've got one here that says motorcycle. And then I just created a yes and no. Nationality, and I created European, Caucasian, Hispanic, African American, Asian, yes and no, whatever you want it to be, anything you want. That way, you can then go to your reports, go to marketing, go to create a list and say, you know what, I want a list of just my men who are Hispanic and have no tattoos. Or, yes, they've got a lot of tattoos, or something like that. And then I can create it. And right here, I might call it Hispanic tat male, or something like that. And then it will give me a list of everybody that's got that. Now, how does it know? Because in the client files, we have tracking. So I can click on tracking and say, Michelle Babcock has black hair and it's long and she gets perms and she has oily skin and she rides a motorcycle and she's Hispanic and she has tattoos and she's between the ages of 26 and 35, etc. All of these things that I've created that I get to choose from now. And they can be anything I want them to be. So reports, marketing, create a list, generate my list. So let's do it. Let's actually do it now. I'm going to say I want a list of just my females. And I'm going to call this females. And then create list. And now, of course, I've already done this. So it says this list already exists and contains data. Do I want to overwrite it? I'm going to say yes. So it's going to go through all 22,000 plus of my customers, and it'll do that in about 15 seconds. Let's just count it off here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, there we go, even less than 15 seconds. So I've got 20,439 out of 22,248 that are women. So I've created my list of women now. So now I can go to blast, and I get to choose the list that I created, like all females. And then I can choose to export this list somewhere on my computer so that I can import it into something like Constant Contact or Go Loyal or MailChimp or whatever it is you want to do there. Or we can hit blast list, and we can then choose to send a text message to everybody on the list or send an email to everybody on the list. If I choose email, I get to use my drop-down here and choose from all of the different emails that I've created here in manual marketing. But you might say, well, I've never done this before. I'm not going to have any emails to choose from. Well, that's fine. That's why we have this setup button. We go to setup, and now we can create an email or a text message. So we've got a whole bunch of them in there already, but I'm going to create a brand new one. I'm going to call this Roxanne. That's the template name. Then the subject line is going to be open caret, CF closed caret. So that'll say something like Sally or Jane or Roxanne. And so this is going to be my client's first name that I'm putting here. So and then something like this. So now this says, Roxanne, a quick message from us at Bella Renaissance. Then I choose my font. I choose my font size. I can even upload an image so that if I'm doing something like a newsletter or something like that. And then I can type in the body and say something like, hey, you know, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so for all of our women who visit us, we'd like to offer you 10% off on all services if we see that you have donated to breast cancer in the last year. Show us, you know, evidence that would give you 10% off or whatever it is. Or 10% of all purchases this month will go towards our local breast cancer awareness clinic or something like that. Whatever. You write your message up. And so I'm just going to put in a blah, blah, blah here and save my template. Well, if I do that, then it will be here ready for me. So now I can come down here and I can find my Roxanne, which I just created. There it is, Roxanne. So now I can send myself a test email. Yep, that looks good. Or after I've done that, hit process, and all 20,000 people on that list are going to get that message. And it doesn't matter whether she sends out 5 or 50,000. You're not going to get marked as a spammer because the DARCI system is a certified marketing platform, just like things like Constant Contact and Go Loyal, Demand Force, etc. Okay? And then, of course, you can do the same thing with texting. And you go to setup and create your text, and then you're able to send it out. Once again, you're limited to 140 characters for your texting. Okay? So that's something to remember. All right. Last but not least, you also want to take into account reviews. It's really important. The best way to get reviews is obviously, I know this is going to sound really silly, but the best way to get reviews is to have people write about you that like you. Now, I know that sounds absurdly simplistic, but the problem is the people who are most likely to write a review, the people who usually have the most impetus to do so, are people who are unhappy. That's not who we want writing a review about us. But we also can't offer positive goods for positive reviews, because companies like Yelp, for instance, if they find out that you're offering a positive good for a positive review, they can actually mark right on your Yelp page that it has come to their attention that this company is purchasing positive reviews. And that makes you look so bad. I mean, you could have 1,000 great reviews on there. They're all worthless if it says that it's come to their attention that you've been buying positive reviews. So you never want to offer a positive good for a positive review. So how do you get people that you know like you to write you a review? Well, it's actually fairly simple. You're going to go to marketing. You're going to go to create a list. And you're going to do something like this, where it says any visit. I'm going to say, okay, any visit from, say, March 1st of 2016 to today. And then the number of visits. Maybe I choose 6. So what does this mean? I'm about to create a list of every client that has visited me at least 6 times in the last year. So that means they're coming in an average of once every 2 months. I don't want the guy who visited me 8 months ago for the first time and never came back. I don't want him reviewing me. I don't know why he didn't come back. Maybe he loved it, but maybe he didn't. But somebody who just keeps coming back over and over and over again, that person probably has something very good to say about you and your business. And so that's the person that you would probably want to contact and say, hey, would you mind writing a review about us? Remember, don't offer a positive good. Don't say, hey, if you write a positive review about us, we'll give you this free OPI bottle or something like that. Absolutely not. Just say, hey, you know, something to the effect of, we love our clients here. We hope you love us too. If you thought your last experience here was good, or your experiences in the past have been excellent, would you mind writing a review about us? And remember, your emails go out with your social networking icons. So it makes it incredibly easy for your customer to click your Yelp icon and write a Yelp review, or click your Facebook page and like your page and write a review about you on Facebook, or click your Google Plus page and write a review about you for Google. You have made it very easy for them by having those social networking icons. So when they get an email that says, would you mind reviewing us? The ones that really like you might actually take the time to do so. So if that goes out to 50 people, maybe a couple of them will write a review about you. If it goes out to 500 people, that same percentage means that a couple of dozen might be writing good reviews about you. And if it went out to 5,000 people, it may be several hundred people that wrote good reviews about you. Just depends on the size of your database and how many people are coming in regularly. Now remember, I chose the number 6 there, but that's a minimum number. What that means is that this is not just people who came in to visit me 6 times, it's at least 6 times. So people who have visited me 12 times will be on this list. People who have visited me 15 times will be on the list. People who have visited me 7 times will be on the list. Again, there's a very high likelihood that everybody on this list has something good to say about you because they just keep coming back. So that's the last thing that I wanted to mention. Roxanne, did you have any questions for me at all? Was there anything that you were hoping we were going to cover in this class that we didn't, or are you satisfied with what you learned? I hope you found it informative, but technically we're done with the class. If you would like me to email you a recording of this very class that you just took, please chat your email to me, and I'll get that out to you within the hour. Roxanne, are you still with me? Okay, and can you give me that email address? Roxanne Hepburn at yahoo.com, easy enough. Roxanne Hepburn at yahoo.com. It was my pleasure. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.